Right, who's ready for a ridiculously late version of Ask FP this week? Man, I've been swamped like crazy, working like a wild maniac for this MLB 15 The Show review. I got the written one out there. Y'all stay tuned for the video version. But Brian Cyrus is up first. He says, what are your thoughts on Brock re-signing with the WWE? I love it, and I really loved WrestleMania. I mean, this question is from the 24th, but man, WrestleMania. I got some WrestleMania questions in here, but man, WrestleMania was off the chain. Brock's off the chain. Brock on, it was great. It was crazy. That's how good it was. So I really liked it. Beast Mode says, does Kevin Love leave Cleveland if they don't win a ring? I think it's possible. I don't really think he's gonna leave though. Just honestly, I don't think he's gonna leave. I think he's there to be. I think he's gonna stay there. But I definitely think not winning the ring would definitely make it possible. I don't think he likes LeBron. I don't think he likes playing with being the third guy. But I think he's really deceived because I don't think he's better than a third option on a good team. I mean, we saw you average 25 points a game on a horrible team, but on a good team, I don't know. So Beast Mode also says, which NXT superstar do you think has what it takes to main event WrestleMania? I think that Kevin Owens and Finn Balor have what it takes. I don't think Sami Zayn is truly a WrestleMania main event guy. I don't know. Possibly. I guess he's got a little bit Daniel Bryan in him, but I don't know. We'll see. Simon Torvey Sunderland says, what rivalry do you think is the biggest in England? As a SAFC fan, I obviously think it's the Tyne Weir Derby. I don't know. I mean, I think that Manchester United, Manchester City is the biggest rivalry, at least from an American standpoint. When we think about major rivalries in the English Premier League, that's the first one that comes to my mind. I don't know. I won't claim to be as made abreast of everything that goes on in the EPL, but that's the first one that comes to my mind. He also says, after Golden State Warriors clinched their first division title in decades, do you think they can win it all? Yeah, I think they can win it all. Are they going to win it all? Nah, I don't think so. I would have to say, in my opinion right now, Cleveland is the #1 team. And I know they don't necessarily have the best record. They don't even have the best record in the conference. But if you ask me who looks the best right now, it's them. That kid from Philly says, this is funny. Your girl grabs your phone. The only way on earth to stop her from looking at it are if they make both free throws. Who you picking? That's funny. It's funny because I don't have that problem. I don't do nothing that makes it where my wife can't look at my phone. You look at my phone all day. It can probably be nothing but my conversations with her. But assuming I was in that position, I would probably say I would take Shaq. I would take Shaq to make him. He might not do it, but that's who I take. Yvonne is back. He said, could Mirotic push Taj out of the starting lineup next season? Do you think the Bulls should put him in the starting five? I don't think that Mirotic is going to push Taj out of the starting lineup. I think Mirotic is going to push Taj out of Chicago, to be honest. I think Taj is going to get traded in the offseason. And I think that the Bulls are going to let Mirotic be the man at power forward. One of the keys, the cornerstones of the team moving forward. And I think that along with Taj, Thibodeau is gone too. Unless the Bulls win the championship, I think Thibodeau's gone. UK says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good was that Kentucky versus Notre Dame game? Oh, it was really good. I would have to say it was probably a 9.5 on 9. Only reason I would not give it a 10 is because it didn't end in the last second shot. If it had ended in the last second shot for somebody, it would have been a 10 because it had just about everything else. I mean, it was really good. Notre Dame played almost as good as they can play. What lost Notre Dame the game was the free throws at the end. That's what lost them the game. Does Vlade Divac deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame? No, I don't think so. I mean, he was very important as an international player You know, early on in that process when international players just started coming to the into the NBA, he was definitely instrumental in that. But as a player, just in regards to, is he good enough? Would he have a good enough career? I don't think so. Not in my opinion. He didn't. No. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's harsh. I don't think so though. I mean, like I always say, the Hall of Fame question is, do you have to hesitate with the answer? If you do, then no. Everson Carter says, if Paige stays healthy for most of her career, is she a Hall of Famer? Probably, but just to be quite honest, the criteria for being a female Hall of Famer in the WWE, it ain't that high. Well, I mean, she don't have a whole bunch to try to live up to. I mean, she already been like a 2 or 3 time Divas champion already, and she ain't been in the WWE but at 45 minutes. So, I mean, you know, this just lets you know what she's up against, which is not much. So 89 Simpson, I'm sorry, it says, are you going to make another Legends roster for NBA 2K16? I probably will, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm really yearning for these cats to pick up where, you know, the show has already begun, which basically letting you carry over saves. Now, the show only lets you carry over saves from the previous version in terms of if you start a franchise mode or road to the show. They don't let you carry over roster files, which a lot of people don't like. But yeah, I would love, if that happened, I would love it. But I don't know about wasting this work, which is pretty much what it's equating to every year. King Hype says, do you look forward to Triple H entrances every WrestleMania and top 5 entrances of all time? Man, that Triple H entrance was awesome. If you ask me for top 5 entrances of all time, that one's definitely there. The first time we saw the Undertaker's the lights go out, really, like it does now, that was definitely up there. I love the John Cena, what was that, WrestleMania 24, when he came with the car through the window thing. That was really dope. Thought that was awesome. Shawn Michaels being coming down on the string or whatever he did, that was really awesome too. Those are the ones that come to my mind. Matt Price says, what match do you think was bigger for Steve Austin's career? WrestleMania 13 versus Bret Hart, or winning the title versus HBK at WrestleMania 14? 13, easy, even though he didn't win. But it was like one of the first times, maybe it might have been the first time, they ever used the old pass out ending to put over a guy's toughness. And because, you know, Steve Austin was so on fire at that time, that just really just completely validated him at that point. So I thought that was the best. Matt Price says, what's your favorite WWE game of all time? No Mercy for Nintendo 64 for me. I would go the same route, but I would say WrestleMania 2000 on Nintendo 64. That was bananas. Yes, it was. It was really, I mean, they have still not yet found that level, that balance of gameplay, fun, simulate. Well, it wasn't a simulation, but they haven't really found just that regular gameplay like that yet. They still haven't done it again. HDG Ball Out says, what are your thoughts on Lucha Underground? Are you into Mexican wrestling? Ball Out. I've watched maybe 2 episodes of Lucha Underground, right? I like the wrestling. I do. I like the in-ring action for sure, which that, you know how that goes. But I didn't like the commentary. And a couple things I didn't like, but I mean, it's some stuff I really like I love the presentation of it, the way it looks, I love it, but I can't say I'm digging the commentary and the audio aspect of it. For something's missing. I don't know what it is. ACG Ballout also says, when you play NBA 2K15 My GM, what are your strategies? Do you trade for first round picks or slowly build, or the opposite? I actually try to win from the beginning, to be honest. I trade draft picks. And you know the reason why I do that is because they don't let you carry over saves. And I know, quite honestly, I'm probably not going to get through more than one and a half seasons at the most. So it's almost like, what's the point of building for the future? Because I know I'm not going to get that far. You know, so that's why you need carryover saves. 6 says, do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers have the best offense in the NFL? If not, who? Honestly, I think the Dallas Cowboys had the best offense. And yes, I know they lost to DeMarco Murray, but they have Randall. So I mean, I really like him. I really think that him stepping in, they won't miss much. And I also believe they're going to draft probably Todd Gurley or Melvin Gordon. So I don't think they're going to miss much, and the offensive line is what makes everything go. So I think the Cowboys are the best offense. Malcolm Walker says, who do you think will make the 7th and 8th seeds in the East? I think it's going to be the same teams that are there now. I just think it's going to get flip-flopped. I think Brooklyn is going to move ahead of Miami, and Miami is going to fall down to 8th. But I think it's going to be Brooklyn 7, Miami 8 for the 7th and 8th seeds. So, yeah, I mean, and I know a lot of people are not going to like that, because if Miami stays 7th, they'd be against Cleveland in the first round, and people would love to see LeBron in Miami. But it ain't going to happen, I don't think. Jalen Cook says, do you think WrestleMania 31 was one of the greatest WrestleManias ever? Yes, I was talking about that earlier. Yes, it was. In my personal opinion, I've seen pretty much every WrestleMania, just about. I'm trying to think of WrestleMania I didn't see. I'm pretty sure I've seen them all. And yeah, in my opinion, it was the best ever. Best ever. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, just awesome. I mean, I'm not going to say every match was amazing, because you did have the Divas match, which was not that good. And I didn't think Bray Wyatt and Undertaker was great. It was okay. But, you know, overall, the great points were awesome. Brandon Cage says, what do you think of Triple H's Terminator entrance? Did you like the whole event being in daylight? Feel like it hurt some entrances, like Bray's, Takers, and Stings? I would definitely agree with that. That I would say. I love Triple H's entrance, like I said before, but I kept this question because of the last part. The whole event being in daylight did kind of hurt Sting's entrance and Taker's entrance and Bray's entrance, like you said. They needed that darkness, and I mentioned to somebody while I was watching it, I kind of missed it being on the inside for that reason. Tyler Knowles says, who do you think will be on the cover of WWE 2K16? If I had to guess, it's going to probably be Brock Lesnar. That's what I think. I just think that the dude he's money. He's absolute money, man. I mean, his presence is just absolute money. It gets people's attention. Even if you don't like the WWE or you don't know about the WWE, you look at Brock Lesnar on the cover, you know who that is. I don't know if Daniel Bryan has that same effect. So I think it's going to be Brock. Tyler Knowles says, do you think EA Sports will continue doing UFC video games or start doing boxing? I actually hope they do both. Really, really do. I really hope they do both. But if I had to guess, I think they're going to alternate. And because EA Sports UFC didn't sell that well. So I would think that boxing would probably be what they do next. I think it's a perfect time to do boxing, with Mayweather Pacquiao raising the popularity of the sport, premier boxing champions bringing it to mainstream TV. I think it's perfect time. Tyler Knowles says, if WrestleMania 33 took place at Soldier Field, would you go? More than likely, if I could get, press seats, or if I get some sort of like seats in the suite or somewhere, somewhere choice. But I would not. I don't know though, because Chicago weather is so crazy, man. See, that's why they might not ever have it in Soldier Field, because you don't know what the temperature gonna be at the end of March, at the beginning of April in Chicago. I mean, it could be 12, literally. So I don't know. I probably watch that one from home. Who is the best team in the NBA? I actually, you know what? I was just answering this earlier. I actually probably should have took this out. No offense, Dustin, but I didn't take it out. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are, in my opinion, the best team in the NBA right now. I do understand that Golden State has the best record, and even Atlanta has a better record than Cleveland. But if you just put everything together right now, if you ask me which team looks like is going to be the toughest to beat in a 7-game series, I would say it's Cleveland. That's what I would say. Jordan Newhook says, what 6 Major League Baseball teams do you think will win each division this year? Well, I think the Cardinals win. I think the Marlins win their division. I like the Blue Jays. Actually, no, I like the Orioles to win the East. I like the Royals to win their division. I actually like the Mariners to win the AL West, and the National League West. I like the Dodgers to win. So we'll see if that's what happens. But that's what I think. What championship do you think? I'm sorry, Justin says, what championship do you think that Dean Ambrose will have next, and when do you think he will win the title? I think Intercontinental title is the title they have aligned him for, and it makes sense. So that's what I'm expecting for him to. I expect him to get that strap at some point. He may not get it from Daniel Bryan unless they decide to do some sort of triple threat thing, or they turn him or something like that. But Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. Trevor Allen says, what matches would you like to see for WrestleMania 32? Well, I would like to see Sting Taker. I would like to see Brock versus Rock if they're going to really do it. Really do it. I would love to see the Shield in a triple threat match for the WWE title. You know, maybe whoever has it, Seth or Roman, whoever has it, but I would like to see that. Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler would be awesome in some way, shape, or form. So we'll see. Nate Blair says, how many more years do you think Browns fans will have to endure until we are contenders? By the way, I'm new to Ask FB. I appreciate you coming through. But I think it's going to be a little while. I think they got to get solidified at quarterback first. And I think they also had to get some stability at wide receiver. Obviously, you can't depend on Josh Gordon. So I think that, you know, that's the biggest things right now. I think they have the makings of a decent defense, though. They got to stop the run better, of course. Drafting somebody like Danny Shelton might help that because they can't stop the run for nothing. So, you know. Nate Blair also says, are the Cavs the best team? Nate Blair says, what is your wish list for Madden 16? Well, I would love for them to allow you to create your own uniforms in Ultimate Team. That would be huge. I would love a weekly wrap-up show. I would love a good halftime show with highlights, a weekly wrap-up show with highlights. That would be awesome. Those are like my biggest ones really right now, because I really don't hate the gameplay. I don't. And I don't hate the franchise mode. So, you know, letting you edit the actual draft class, though, I love that too. Devin Martinez says, when are you going to start your Breaking the Curse series? Yes, MLB The Show is out, and I am going to start that up pretty soon. But obviously, my #1 priority right now is finishing that draft class. But I am going to have these baseball videos coming because, you know, the game just came out. We gotta feed the community. So, you know. Devin says, do you think that the RKO at WrestleMania was one of the best moves ever? It was, it was good. And you know what? I don't think that Seth is getting enough props for that. That RKO don't look like that unless Seth sells it the way he sold it. I mean, did you see how high he got up in the air? That's not, I mean, obviously Randy had the good timing to catch him and execute it or whatever, but the bulk of the difficulty of that move was what Seth did. I mean, his athleticism is freaky crazy. You can't tell me he couldn't be playing cornerback or safety for somebody. Probably safety. He should be for somebody's free safety. He should be. It's ridiculous. The dude is sick. But that's this episode of Ask FP. I appreciate y'all watching. God bless. And thanks again for waiting for this to drop as I work like a wild animal out here. That was my wild animal call. Peace.